a devastating force to be reckoned with, nicknamed the Beast for good reason and whispering death. This is the M1 Abrams in Battlefield 6. Welcome to this channel. This will be my first in hopefully a long series of videos where I discuss the iconic weapons, vehicles and gadgets used in video games. I hope you will enjoy and comment what you know to add to the discussion. Tank warfare saw massive improvements over the 1900s as their effectiveness improved. From tank land ships used to traverse trenches in World War I and the mobile fortresses used during World War II offensives, they have become an integral part of a country's offensive and defensive capabilities. Many iconic tanks have been developed over the years, many due to a specific need. The Tiger tank, developed by the Germans, was developed to provide offensive dominance with powerful weapons and armor. The American Sherman provided a practical light tank that could be easily maintained and manufactured quickly. The Russian T-60 was similarly built to be mass-produced quickly to retaliate against German forces. After World War II, the Americans needed further improvements in their battle tanks which could rival newer Russian tanks, one with more firepower and survivability. In the 1960s, the Americans wanted to replace the second generation tank M60 MBT and worked with the West Germans to produce the MBT-70, which came with a larger gun and better engines. Due to its price, the program was shut down, but the idea would be used to develop one of the most notable tanks in use today, the M1 Abrams. This absolute beast of a tank was developed by Chrysler Defense, who is now known as General Dynamics, with a 120mm smoothbore gun, choke-bomb armor, a gas turbine engine with 1,500 horsepower in the rear, and weighs about 69.5 tons, but newer models could weigh more than that. While the original M1 Abrams had a 105mm main gun similar to that of the previous M60, this was changed out with the more powerful 120mm M256 based on a German Rheinmetall gun used for the Leopard tank. The main gun and a coaxial machine gun is controlled by a gunner with a range of up to 2 miles and an ability to shoot while on the move with the aid of the gyroscope and sensors to stabilize the gun during movement. The tank uses a jet-like engine that has been used in a land vehicle due to its light nature and ability to produce high acceleration and ability to carry heavy armor. Though this does use more fuel, the advantages were seen as outweighing the fuel consumption required. The Abrams can use jet fuel, diesel, or gasoline. However, diesel is used often due to its ability to act as a shield with its less flammable nature. The choke-bomb armor used a combination of steel and ceramics. Ceramics are much harder than steel, however are very brittle, which is taken advantage of as armor as it will fracture an incoming round when it breaks, and the leftover energy will be absorbed by the second tougher material layer. To increase survivability, tanks are equipped with smoke grenades in canisters that create a smoke screen surrounding the tank. The tank is also manned by a commander responsible for monitoring and orders and has access to a 50 cal machine gun, a driver and a loader. In many modern tanks, an auto-loading system is used However, the Abrams tanks use a person to load the shells due to the less complex nature. Of course, you can imagine the stink of sweat in the tank due to the loading procedure. Ammunition is located in a sealed area behind the loader. This is to prevent rounds penetrating the tank, igniting the ammunition. This compartment is called a blowout compartment, and if ignited will vent all the firepower upwards away from the crew. Another interesting survivability fact is that the tank uses a nuclear, biological and chemical protection system by using filters to create a positive internal pressure to force any contamination outside of the tank. This means the tank could still be used in hazardous conditions. The M1 Abrams fires 120mm kinetic energy rounds as well as high explosive anti-tank rounds. These are called APS FDS-T rounds or HEAT rounds. This stands for armor piercing fin stabilized discarding sabot tracers or high explosive anti-tanks. The APS FDS-T rounds are kinetic energy rounds that concentrate a large amount of kinetic energy on a small surface with a long rod to penetrate, while the high explosives carry a warhead to fragment the target instead. Improvements resulted in variation from the original M1 and M1A1 designs. The M1A2 was more technologically advanced, a commander's independent thermal viewer was added. Another variant, the M1A2 SEP, standing for Systems Enhancement Package, added more technological upgrades such as advanced displays, FLIR, and auxiliary power. If you see the big camera looking thing on top of your tank, you are probably looking at this upgrade. So why was the tank called the Whispering Death? This was actually because, as opposed to a diesel engine, the tank had a gas engine, and this produced a eerily more silent sound than the diesel engine would have. Obviously, when you're close by to the tank, it is a quite loud tank, but compared to a diesel engine, from long distances, it was more quiet. So this name was actually dubbed by soldiers that fought alongside the tank when they were actually quite surprised at how quiet the tank was when fighting alongside it. In this game, generally speaking, there's a lot of power in these tanks. There's a great sound design for it. There's a great aesthetic to these tanks. The only thing I would say is maneuverability isn't quite there. Speed isn't quite there. Compared to previous tanks in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, you would really go into using the maneuverability to kind of outwork your opponent, something that's very difficult to do with this version of the tank. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the way the tanks are in these games. So that's it. There'll be more videos to come in the future, so I'll see you in the next one.